Yay. Awesome. Thank y'all so much for coming out. Give it up for the comics you've seen already tonight. Oh my God, this is so much fun, y'all. I've been up here for about 5 years now. So that's 5 years of every day explaining to people that I'm not racist anymore. So, yeah. I'm originally from Texas, y'all, and I had to explain to my southern mother that I was moving up towards New York City. She was like, oh my God, James, something horrible is going to happen to you up there. You're going to get mugged or raped or even worse, lose your accent. So, yeah. Actually, both my parents are Southern. My dad's from Louisiana, my mom's from Arkansas, and yes, I was conceived during a wrestling match. So, it gets weird when you find out that the only way your mom can finish is if your dad does the Hulk Hogan leg drop, though. So, nobody needs to know that on a fishing trip, y'all. So, no, it's like every good Southern white boy, I do have a cousin who has a Confederate flag tattoo. I know you're all surprised. But, and I was on the phone with Dave last year, but I promised him when I told this joke I wouldn't use his real name, so we're going to call him David. And, and I told him, I was like, David, dude, you got to get rid of the tattoo. Like, you can't keep supporting losers like that. And he's like, well, your parents still support you. So, yeah. He's like, but James, the South will rise again. We'll get them next season. I was like, I'm like, no, dude, I don't think you're like your little league team. You don't get to lose every time over and over and over. But then he was like, no, James, you don't understand. The flag's about heritage. It's not about hatred. And I was like, really? Is that what it's about? All right, cool. Because check this out. However you look, however you appear to somebody, that is their first impression of you. That's what they have to think of you for when they first see you. I mean, think about it. Like, if you saw somebody wearing all Boston Red Sox gear walking into Yankee Stadium, you would assume they're suicidal. Yeah. If you see somebody crying in a corner smoking weed with a little green sash by them, you would assume they're eating Girl Scout cookies. So, yeah. And then if you see 4 old white guys around a Little League field, you would know they're priest. So, yeah. Yeah. I have to deal with a lot of stereotypes up here, and one of the ones that bothers me the most is they're like, oh, white people don't like spicy food. That really bothers me, y'all, because I come from East Texas. We're like Cajuns on horseback. So, yeah, we put hot sauce on everything we eat because it makes taking a girl home that first night a lot more fun. She can't say she didn't feel anything that night, y'all. So, yeah, if the person around you is not laughing, that's all right. That joke's a slow burn. So... Yeah. I actually grew up on a ranch in East Texas, and one of the things that's a lot different is my upbringing. Like, for instance, the way I got my sex talk. My dad just pulled me into the front yard, and he's like, boy, you see what that bull's doing to that cow? Yes, sir. He's like, well, that's what you're going to do on prom night. I'm like, all right, but that bull looks like he weighs a lot, and that shit's going to hurt. So he's like, no, you'll be the bull. I'm like, all right, well, do I got to, like, kiss her on the tits to get her wet? Like, how's that work? So, do I bring her flowers? How do I get her stuck in the fence line, by the way? So, yeah. And things like that is why I am single like every other comic. So, I know some of y'all are surprised. You're like, no, James, you look like you invented fucking. How is that possible? Yeah. No. One of my friends recently was like, oh, James, like, I'm going to set you up with my roommate. And I found out that when a friend says that they're going to set you up, it translates to, I fucking hate you. Yeah. Because she's like, James, I'm going to set you up with her, but I got to let you know that she's poly. And I'm like, if she likes to dress up like a bird when we fuck, I don't care. So whatever gets her off. She's like, no, it means she's polyamorous. It means she likes to date multiple people at the same time. I'm like, wow, y'all are really progressive up here, because back home in Texas, we just call that a whore. Yeah. And I am so glad they haven't learned the term polyamorous back home, because it would have taken me so much longer to get my cousin's name off that water tower, y'all. So, yeah. One of my friends up here who has like a thick Brooklyn accent was like, dude, it must be so hard for you to like date up here with your accent. I'm like, why would you say that? Like, my accent helps me more than yours does. Because check this out, like if I want to go pick up a lady at a bar, like, you know, the first thing I do is turn my accent up a little bit, walk over to her, shuffle my hair so she knows I'm not bald. Yeah. Then look her dead in the eye and be like, you're prettier than a newborn deer. Some of you are like, that shit don't work. And yes, it does. I've seen women get so wet, they slide off the seat, hit the ground, and splash. So, no. And some of those fun things, y'all, because if that don't work, then I just tell them I'm a veteran, and that works too. Yeah, I joined the Army really young. I got to go to some really cool places. Like I got to go to like Germany and Poland and no, that's it. No, but I also had to go to some really shitty places like Iraq, Afghanistan, and Newark. So, yeah. And when people hear Iraq and Afghanistan, they always have a bunch of questions. And the one that always amuses me the most is people come up and be like, dude, when you were over there, did you ever have to kill anybody? No, didn't have to. Why you asking? You got a job? You hiring? What's up, man? So, shit. No. And then the other one I get right after that is, oh, shit, do you got PTSD? Yeah, I do. But I've convinced my mom that actually stands for being pretty, tempting, sexy, and debonair. So, yeah. And then I turned sideways, and some of you are like, oh, shit, I thought you had to be in shape to be a veteran, man. Round is a shape. Fuck you. So, yeah. Because this is still the body of a warrior, y'all. I just changed what I'm fighting against. Instead of fighting ISIS and Al-Qaeda, now I'm fighting type 2 diabetes and the weight limit on toilet seats. So, I did end up doing 15 years in the Army, and 10 years of that was spent deployed. So please, no quick movements. So, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, no quick movements in the shadows, and everybody will be all right. So, yeah. And I really do thank y'all for clapping. So I always ask my other veteran buddies, like, what do y'all say whenever somebody says thanks for your service? Because it's always an awkward moment because you never know how to explain to somebody, like, you know, oh, I didn't do shit. I flipped burgers. What are you talking about? Like, yeah, that ain't what I did. But I mean, I'm sure there's some people that did that shit. But I asked some of my veteran buddies, and they were like, oh, I usually say thanks for your support, or thank you for the recognition. Or some of them, because they're assholes, go, hey, are you single? Thanks, man. So, yeah. Me personally, what I say is no thank you. Because for 15 years, y'all paid for my housing and food, for my alcoholism, and for the worst vacation ever. So, I can't really say that, though. My first deployment was to Brazil, y'all. And so I was really young and naive, so I thought I was going to get to see hot girls in bikinis and play soccer on the beach. Yeah, no. Instead, y'all, I got the Amazon rainforest in the middle of the summer and animals that they should have classified as Satan's pets. If you don't know, y'all, if you've never seen a National Geographic or you've been hiding in a Catholic school like some people, no, they have 30-foot snakes down there, y'all. They have fish that can swallow you whole. Yeah, and they have spiders that walk around smoking cigars and holding conversations. Yeah. Some of the other cool places I got to go were to South Korea, and I do have to specify South Korea because somebody will ask if I got to go to North Korea. So I did not. So I'm sorry. They didn't allow me up there. I do have the tattoos for it, but I'm not 6'8" and black. So I don't play basketball well enough for Kim Jong-un, apparently. No. I know I was joking about PTSD earlier, and it is a serious subject, y'all. The way I found out how serious it was the first time I ever got taken to see a psychiatrist. And I showed up, and the charge nurse at the front table was like, James, you're here for PTSD. Do you know what that stands for? I was like, well, if you ask the cops that brought me in, it stands for put the shotgun down. Yeah. I was just trying to do a Kurt Cobain impression, y'all. I didn't understand it, so... For those that are maybe too young or may have forgotten, Kurt Cobain blew the top off of 90s rock, y'all. So, yeah. So, it's all right. These suicide jokes kill everywhere. So, yeah. But I got in to go see the psychiatrist, and the first thing she asked me was if I knew the difference between being sad or depressed. And I thought she might have a sense of humor, so I told her the only difference between being sad or depressed is the color of the bathwater when the paramedics show up. Yeah. That's the cleanest joke I have, y'all. So, Jesus. No, the other part about it was we did go and talk through some stuff, and then eventually she was like, James, like, why don't you tell me a little bit about your sex life? Are you into anything kinky? Are you into anything we need to know about? And I was like, all right, if you want to imagine me naked, that's all right. And I did say naked, y'all, Nekked, so got to spell it right. But I told her I like to choke myself while I masturbate, you know, because I'm white, so. And she was like, James, aren't you worried that one of the times while you do that, the belt might get stuck and you'll kill yourself? And I was like, Doc, if I do, it's just another notch on my belt. Yeah. But seriously, though, like the VA, that's right, I do go to the Veterans Administration for my mental health. That's right, this is free health care at its best. So, yeah. This is your tax money at work. So. That's right, you need to pay more. But one of the things at the VA, though, is like they have these posters all over the wall, and they want to make sure that you know about the suicide prevention hotline, which, if you do not know, it used to be 1-800-SUICIDE. Does anybody know what it is now? It's 988. So, yeah, so please make sure you know that, because if somebody's going through something, please make sure you give them a hand, because then it's murder. So... yeah. And I'm so glad they changed it to 988. Unless you got a rotary phone, it's better for you. Yeah. But here's the thing, y'all, is looking at those posters, you know, suicide prevention hotline. Like, why do we need the word prevention in there? Is there a suicide assistance hotline I don't know about? Because I really want to call them up and just listen in on a call, yo. Like, thank you for calling the suicide assistance hotline. This is Jerry. How can I help you? You were going to do what? You were going to take pills? Pussy. Don't worry, we got you, man. We're going to send you some stuff that's going to help you. Some gun-flavored mouthwash, an assortment of ropes. Yeah, and our newest book on how to tie the perfect noose by Anthony Bourdain. None of you knew him. Shut the fuck up. Y'all act like y'all went fishing with the motherfucker. Shut up. Jesus Christ. Yeah. But the other thing I was thinking about before they changed the numbers, 1-800-SUICIDE. I mean, suicide is a hard word to spell when you're stressed out, y'all. I mean, gun to my head, I could probably only do it once. So, at least everybody got that. Thank you. So. I had to explain that shit in Newark, man. They were like, why you have a gun to your head? Oh, yeah. No, so I started thinking about, while I was sitting there, like easier things that we could have done, like 1-800-I-KILL-ME or 1-800-YOU SUCK or, you know, 1-800-WET TOASTER. So, come on, that will stick with you, man. So. Some people always want to know about flashbacks because they've seen them in movies. And I'm trying to explain to people it's nothing like in the movies. But if you don't know about flashbacks, essentially you get to relive your worst moments in life over and over again. You know, kind of like when Chris Rock looks at a bald person or Biden looks at a bicycle, you know. Who the fuck said, oh? I didn't push the motherfucker over. Jesus. I wasn't the one in the bunny suit. Leave me alone. But here's the thing, y'all, is I always wondered, like, why can't we have a good flashback, y'all? Like the first time your dad took you to a ball game, or your first kiss, or the first time you got a pinky in the butt during a blowjob. So, yeah. Memories, y'all. Memories. Yeah. For some of us, that could all be the same day. Some of our parents loved us more than others. So. But really, everybody's PTSD is a little bit different, and that was one of the things that I always try and explain it in my comedy, so that way people understand not every veteran goes through the same thing. Like, for instance, I do have social anxiety as a symptom of my PTSD, and I know some of you are like, James, how can you get in front of people and do this if you have social anxiety? Easily, I take all your tax money every month and spend it on drugs. So. Yeah, exactly. My doctor calls it an antidepressant, but whatever. So, yeah. And I do take an antidepressant, y'all. Who else does in here? Clap it up. Exactly. Yeah, raise your hand. That's clapping, man. So, and it's a comic. Good job. So, no, but recently my doctor let me know that if you take an antidepressant for too long, it messes up your sex life, y'all. And for guys, that means erectile dysfunction. But there's two different types of erectile dysfunction. There's the kind that make you take the blue pill, and then there's the kind that make it seem like you're always on the blue pill. Yeah, I have the second one in case you're wondering. I need all y'all to keep your eyes above my waist. Thank you very much. So, yeah, especially you. And some people think like, oh, that's got to be a good thing because you must be able to last forever. And I'm like, yeah, that's all fun and games till I ask for a blowjob, y'all. And the girl realizes it's going to take an hour. So, because that's right, y'all. I take an AD that causes ED that stops me from getting BJs. Yeah. Tell me how I'm supposed to LMFAO. So, all right. No, one of the other things, y'all, is who here believes in reincarnation? Awesome. 2 people. The rest of you can fuck off. All right. No, the reason I asked that, y'all, is my last tour in Iraq, I was blown up 3 separate times by suicide bombers. For $20, I turned into a really shitty OnlyFans. Yeah, where I can show you pictures of the scars. I can't show you pictures of the suicide bomber. I couldn't get them all back in one place again. So, but since I've moved up here, I've almost hit 3 separate deer. And I started thinking, y'all, that the deer were the reincarnation of the suicide bombers that missed me. Yeah. Some of y'all are getting worried. You're like, it was an antidepressant, right, James? Sure, like a little chocolate, had some green shit in it. No. But here's the thing, y'all, is I started thinking that they were the reincarnation of the suicide bomber. And because suicide bombers and deer do have something in common, y'all, and it's not the color of their skin. I knew what you were thinking. So, yeah. It's because they both explode when they hit your windshield, y'all. So, yeah. One of the other things that kind of worries me about people whenever they do approach me is a lot of people look at veterans as like heroes that have never done anything wrong, and you could be no further from the truth. Because there's a lot of crazy shit that happens in the barracks, y'all. And we make frat parties look like, a dinner at a yacht club. Because there's this thing called gay chicken, y'all. And it's not the newest brunch special that Chick-fil-A refuses to serve. So, if you don't know, just imagine you take 4 young men full of testosterone and whatever cheap alcohol they can get their hands on. Like, there is not a farm animal that is safe on that post. So, and they've invented this game called Gay Chicken. Yeah. Because essentially what Gay Chicken is, if you don't know, is 2 guys sat really close to each other. They put their hands on each other's thighs, and every time they take a shot, they move them up until somebody freaks out or they touch dicks. Yeah, but here's the problem, y'all. I'm a paratrooper. We have to take shit to another level. And we did one night. Yeah. Because essentially what happened is one guy gets on his knees with his mouth open. The other one goes about 5 feet away and pulls his dick out, and they start waddling towards each other. Yeah. Now, some of y'all are like, James, did you ever play this game? And I did not. I was a referee. So, and what truly amazed me about all this is that these guys would swear up and down. They're like, it's not gay. It's not gay. I'm like, you just put your dick in somebody's mouth. Like, that's pretty gay, dude. And they always had excuses, but my favorite one was like, no, yeah, I had my dick in his mouth, but my eyes were closed. No. But here's the other thing is I'm still friends with some of the dudes that played this game, and now they're grown up. They have kids and everything, and some of them came up not that long ago, and we went out to Brooklyn to a bar, and on the wall they had a little sign, and it said, if you could tell us an Urban Dictionary sex act, like the Angry Dragon or something like that we don't know what it is, then you'll get a free pitcher of beer and a free plate of wings. I was like, all right. Well, my friends don't know that stuff because, you know, they have kids, and, like wives and shit. And I hang out with 22-year-old comics, so I have to know these things. So I can make sure that they're not asking me to do some weird shit. I'm like, what's a Philly fake out? What? But I told the waitress, I was like, what about the Italian chandelier? And she didn't know what it was. And I'll guarantee you none of y'all know what it is either. So an Italian chandelier, though, is when you make shit up for free wings and beer. Yeah. Yeah. So that's always fun. Anybody in here have pets? Clap it up if you have pets, y'all. Cool. Clap if you have dogs. Cool. Clap it up if you have cats. Yeah, cats aren't pets. They're roommates that won't pay you rent, but good job. No, the reason I asked that, y'all, is my mom ran a humane society for roughly about 40 years. Yeah, she retired. She's not here. She doesn't care. I'll pass it along when I call her later tonight. So I'm like, Mom, they clapped for you. I have it on video. So, but when she went to go retire, we asked her, we were like, oh, what are you going to do now? You've been doing this for so long. And she's like, oh, I'm going to adopt like senior dogs, you know, dogs that are up in age and everything. And kind of, keep them until they, so they can have a good life until they pass away. And we were like, oh, that's going to be really stressful for you, though. Like, why are you doing that? And my mom's like, oh, like, I just, like, I'm getting up in age, and I just want to see how it's going to be like whenever I pass. And my sister's like, Mom, you're not going to find a bulldog that's been smoking for 40 years. So, right, yeah. But I did get a dog a couple years ago, and of course I had to get one of my mom's. So, and I went down there, and my mom's like, some things have to change around your house. And I didn't realize how much she was being dead serious. Because, y'all, before I had my dog at 2 o'clock in the morning, if I heard noise outside, like, I'll just grab my pistol and go check it out. Because I haven't learned shit in 44 years. So, but here's the thing, y'all, is now that I have a dog, I grew up Irish Catholic, and we believe in demons. So when my dog's barking into the damn closet at 3 o'clock in the morning, so, like, I don't know whether to reach for my pistol or reach for my Bible now. So let's face it, they're both on my nightstand. So yeah, the Bible and the pistol, not the dog. So yeah. But the other thing that happened was my mom got so excited because I finally got another dog, and it's been a few years. So she was like, oh, James, like, you're going to be a pet parent again. No, Mom, stop that shit. She's like, no, I'm going to make little T-shirts for you, and they're going to say you're a doggy daddy. No, the fuck, you're not. So, Mom, I'm from Texas. I work in New York City. People already think I fuck animals. I don't need this shit. So, thank y'all so much. Thank you for coming out. Give it up for all the comedy you've done. Give it up for Mulligans, y'all.